There are roads in this world that stretch far beyond what any map can show. Places where the asphalt seems to breathe beneath your tires, where mile markers repeat themselves, where the radio picks up frequencies that shouldn't exist. Tonight, I'm going to share 5 stories from people who took drives that were never meant to end. Stories that will make you think twice before taking that shortcut, before trusting your GPS, before assuming that the road ahead is just a road. Before we begin this journey into the darkness, if you appreciate these real horror stories, please hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. These stories come from real people, real experiences, and your support helps me continue bringing you the most disturbing true accounts from around the world. Give this video a like if you're ready to question every road trip you've ever taken. Let me start with something that happened to a long-haul trucker named Marcus. Marcus had been driving 18-wheelers for nearly 20 years. He'd seen every highway, every truck stop, every forgotten stretch of American interstate. He thought he knew the roads. He thought he'd seen everything. It was late October. Marcus was hauling a load of electronics from Pennsylvania to Nevada. He'd done this route dozens of times. The company preferred drivers who took the northern path, cutting through Illinois, Iowa, Nebraska. Fewer way stations, better roads. Marcus knew every rest stop, every diner, every place where you could get decent coffee at 3 in the morning. He left Pittsburgh just after sunset. The goal was to drive through the night, make it to Iowa by morning, grab 6 hours of sleep, then push through to Nebraska. Standard operation. He'd done it so many times he could almost do it with his eyes closed. The first few hours were unremarkable. Traffic thinned out as he crossed into Ohio. The radio played the usual rotation of classic rock and talk radio. He'd sync his CB radio occasionally, hearing the usual chatter from other drivers, warnings about speed traps, complaints about dispatchers, the normal symphony of the American highway. Around midnight, somewhere past Columbus, Marcus noticed something in his side mirror. Another truck. Not unusual, of course. Highways are full of trucks. But this one stayed exactly 3 car lengths behind him, maintaining perfect distance, never getting closer, never falling back. Marcus changed lanes. The truck changed lanes. Marcus sped up to 75. The truck matched his speed. Marcus slowed to 60. The truck slowed to 60. Marcus keyed his CB radio. "Hey, driver in the Peterbilt behind me, you got a copy?" Static. He tried again. "Peterbilt running westbound on 70, you there?" Nothing but the hiss of dead air. Marcus wasn't particularly worried yet. Sometimes CB radios glitch. Sometimes other drivers don't have theirs on. But there was something about the way this truck moved. Something precise, almost mechanical, like it was tethered to his own rig by an invisible cable. He decided to test it. There was a rest stop coming up in about 12 miles. Marcus flicked his turn signal and moved toward the exit lane. The truck behind him did the same. Marcus felt a small spike of adrenaline. He canceled his turn signal and moved back into the main lane. The truck did the same. Now, Marcus was paying full attention. He glanced at his mirrors every few seconds. The truck was a standard Peterbilt, dark-colored, though it was hard to tell the exact shade in the darkness. No company logos visible, no identifying marks. Just a truck. Following him with mechanical precision. Marcus grabbed his CB again. "All right, buddy, I don't know what game you're playing, but I need you to back off." Static. Then something that made Marcus's blood run cold. Through the static, He heard breathing. Not the sound of someone keying their mic to speak, just breathing. Slow, rhythmic, like someone was holding down their transmit button and just breathing into their receiver. Marcus turned off his CB. If you're feeling that creeping sense of dread right now, that's exactly how Marcus felt. And if you want more stories like this, stories that remind us that the world is far stranger and more terrifying than we like to admit, make sure you're subscribed. Hit that like button. Let me know in the comments if you've ever felt like you were being followed on a long drive. Marcus tried to rationalize it. Maybe it was another driver playing a prank. Maybe it was someone who was tired and just happened to be matching his speed. Maybe it was nothing. But Marcus had been driving for 20 years. He knew his instincts, and his instincts were screaming that something was very, very wrong. He decided to take an exit, any exit, just to see what would happen. A sign appeared. "Rest area 2 miles," Marcus signaled. The truck signaled. Marcus took the exit. The truck took the exit. The off-ramp curved away from the highway, descending into a pool of sodium vapor lights. The rest area was small, just a parking lot, a few picnic tables, and a bathroom building. Marcus could see 2 other vehicles, both cars, parked near the building. Marcus pulled into a parking spot. He watched his mirrors. The truck rolled past him slowly, so slowly. Marcus tried to see the driver, but the windows were tinted dark, darker than legal, probably. The truck continued to the far end of the parking lot, made a wide turn, and parked facing Marcus's truck. Just sat there, headlights on, pointing directly at Marcus. Marcus felt his heart hammering. This wasn't a prank. This wasn't coincidence. This was something else, something wrong. He considered calling the police. But what would he say? "A truck followed me off the highway. It's not illegal to park in a rest area." He sat there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. The truck didn't move, didn't turn off its lights, just sat there, watching. Marcus made a decision. He started his engine, put the truck in gear, and pulled out of the parking spot. He drove slowly toward the exit back onto the highway. As he passed the other truck, he tried again to see the driver. The cabin was empty. No one was sitting in the driver's seat. Marcus felt ice flood his veins. He punched the accelerator, his rig lurching forward, and he flew back onto the highway. He didn't look back, didn't want to see if the other truck followed. He just drove, pedaled to the floor, 75, 80, 85. For about 20 miles, he was alone, just him and the empty highway. His heart rate started to slow. Maybe he'd lost it. Maybe it had stayed at the rest area. Maybe his headlights illuminated a sign. "Rest area 2 miles." Marcus felt confusion slice through his fear. That didn't make sense. He'd just left that rest area. There shouldn't be another one for at least 100 miles. But there was the sign, blue and white, official looking. He kept driving. He passed the exit. The same exit he'd taken before, same curve, same sodium vapor lights. Marcus checked his GPS. It showed him on I-70 heading west, exactly where he should be, but his mile marker counter wasn't increasing. He'd been driving for 20 miles and he was still at mile marker 208. That's when he saw the truck again. In his mirror, 3 car lengths back, perfect distance. Marcus's hands tightened on the wheel. This wasn't possible. He'd been doing 85. There was no way that truck had caught up unless it had been doing over 100. And even then, he should have seen it coming, should have seen headlights gaining on him. But there it was, following. always following. Marcus tried every trick he knew. He changed lanes rapidly. He slowed down to 40. He sped up to 90. Nothing changed. The truck stayed exactly 3 car lengths behind him. And worse, the highway had become unfamiliar. He didn't recognize the exits. The town names were wrong. Places he'd never heard of. Places that didn't appear on his GPS. The GPS itself had started glitching. The map would freeze, then jump forward, then freeze again. The estimated arrival time kept resetting. The little blue dot representing his truck would sometimes vanish entirely, leaving just a gray screen with no roads, no markers, nothing. Marcus was breathing hard now. Panic was setting in. This wasn't happening. This couldn't be happening. He was a rational man, a man who dealt in schedules and logistics and fuel efficiency. Not this, not whatever this was. He saw another rest area sign. Rest area 2 miles. The same one. Marcus's mind was fracturing. He'd been driving for what felt like hours, but his clock showed only 20 minutes had passed since he'd left the first rest area, or the same rest area, or whatever it was. He made a split-second decision. He grabbed his CB radio and turned it back on. Immediately, the breathing filled his cabin. Slow, steady, in and out. Marcus keyed his mic. His voice was shaking. "Who are you? What do you want?" The breathing stopped. For a moment, there was only static, then a voice. Flat, emotionless, wrong in ways Marcus couldn't quite define. "Keep driving." "What?" "Keep driving. Don't stop. Don't exit. Just drive." "For how long?" No answer. Just the return of that slow, methodical breathing. Marcus looked in his mirror. The truck was still there. He looked at the road ahead. Empty. Endless. He looked at his fuel gauge. Still 3/4 full. It should have been lower. He'd been driving for hours. If this story is making your skin crawl, making you think about every strange moment you've had on a highway, please let me know in the comments. Share your own experiences, and make sure you're subscribed with notifications on, because we're just getting started. Marcus drove for what felt like an eternity. The highway never changed. Same gray asphalt, same white lines, same darkness pressing in from all sides. No other cars appeared, no buildings, no signs of civilization beyond those repeating rest area markers. His mind started to wander. He thought about his daughter. She'd be in school now, or was it night? He couldn't remember. Time felt slippery. He thought about his wife. When had he last called her? Yesterday? A week ago? The memories felt distant, like he was trying to remember a dream. The voice on the CB spoke again. "You're doing well." Marcus keyed his mic. "What is this? Where am I?" "You're exactly where you've always been. You're driving. It's what you do. It's what you've always done." That's not an answer, isn't it? Marcus felt tears prickling his eyes. "Please, I just want to go home." "Home," the voice repeated, as if tasting the word. An interesting concept. Tell me, Marcus, when was the last time you were truly home? How did it know his name? He hadn't told it his name. "You're always driving," the voice continued. "Always moving, always between places, never arriving, never leaving, just driving. Isn't that what you wanted?" No, I have a family. You have the road. You've always chosen the road. Every time, every opportunity to stop, to settle, to be present, you chose the road, and now the road has chosen you." Marcus screamed, a raw, primal sound that echoed in his cabin. He slammed on the brakes. The truck shuddered, tires shrieking, he came to a complete stop in the middle of the highway. The truck behind him stopped too, exactly 3 car lengths back. Marcus threw open his door and jumped down onto the asphalt. He was going to confront this, whatever it was, end it. He started walking toward the other truck, his boots loud on the pavement. The truck's headlights were blinding. Marcus squinted, raising his hand to shield his eyes. He got within 10 feet, 5 feet. The cabin was still empty. No one in the driver's seat. No one in the passenger seat. Marcus reached for the door handle. The horn blared. A long, sustained blast that seemed to vibrate in Marcus's chest cavity. He stumbled backward. The truck's engine revved. Once, twice. Marcus ran back to his rig. He climbed in, slammed the door, and punched the accelerator. His truck lurched forward. He didn't look back. He just drove. The highway stretched ahead, infinite, unchanging. And in his mirror, always exactly 3 car lengths back, the other truck followed. Marcus never made it to Iowa. His truck was found 3 days later at a rest stop outside Columbus, Ohio. Engine running, headlights on. The cabin was empty. Marcus was gone. His logbook showed he'd been driving for 48 hours straight, but his fuel tank was still 3/4 full. The GPS had recorded him traveling in perfect circles around the same 50-mile stretch of highway. They never found Marcus, but other drivers on I-70 sometimes report seeing a truck at night, following them, keeping perfect distance, and sometimes, when they turn on their CB radios, they hear breathing and a voice that says, "Keep driving. Take a breath. Let that settle in." That's one story. We have 4 more journeys into the unknown. But first, if you're enjoying this, if these stories are giving you that delicious chill of real fear, please hit that like button right now. Subscribe if you haven't already. Your support means everything. The second story comes from a woman named Juniper. Juniper was a travel nurse, and she was driving from Texas to Colorado for a new assignment. It was late July, hot, the kind of heat that makes the air shimmer and the horizon waver like a mirage. Juniper had left Austin around 4 in the afternoon. The plan was to drive through the night, stop in New Mexico for breakfast, then arrive in Denver by early afternoon. She was an experienced driver. She'd made long trips dozens of times. She had her route planned, her audiobooks downloaded, her coffee thermos filled. The first several hours were normal. She crossed into New Mexico just after sunset. The sky faded from orange to purple to black. Stars appeared, more stars than she'd ever seen in the city. The highway was mostly empty. She'd see a car every 10 or 15 minutes, but otherwise, it was just her and the road. Around 10 o'clock, Juniper noticed her gas gauge was getting low. She started watching for exit signs. According to her GPS, there should be a town coming up in about 30 miles, a place called Redemption. Population 847. Small, but it should have a gas station. She saw the exit sign in her headlights. Redemption, next exit. Juniper took the exit. The off-ramp curved away from the highway, descending into darkness. No streetlights, no buildings visible, just her headlights cutting through the night. The road at the bottom of the ramp was old asphalt, cracked and weathered. She turned right, following a faded sign that said, "Downtown." Juniper drove for about 2 miles, nothing but empty desert on both sides. She was starting to worry she'd missed the town when her headlights illuminated a building, a diner, old-fashioned, chrome and red vinyl, a neon sign that flickered. Red's Diner, Open 24 hours. Jennifer felt relief. Where there was a diner, there would be a gas station. She pulled into the parking lot. There were 3 other cars there, which struck her as odd for such a remote location. But she was just glad to see signs of life. She parked and got out. The air was cooler than she expected, almost cold. She could hear the buzz of the neon sign and the hum of the diner's air conditioning unit. Jennifer pushed open the door. A bell chimed. The interior was exactly what you'd expect. Red vinyl booths, black and white checkered floor, a long counter with chrome stools. Behind the counter, a grill and a pass-through to the kitchen. Everything looked clean, but old, like it had been preserved from the 1950s. There were 4 other people in the diner. An elderly man sat at the counter, nursing a cup of coffee. A couple occupied one of the booths, sharing a plate of fries. Another man sat alone in the back corner, reading a newspaper. A waitress appeared from the kitchen. She was maybe 50, with graying hair pulled back in a bun. She smiled at Jennifer. "Sit anywhere you like, honey." Jennifer slid into a booth near the window. The waitress brought over a menu and a glass of water. "Know what you want or need a minute?" "Actually, I mostly just need gas," Jennifer said. "Is there a station nearby?" The waitress's smile didn't change, but something flickered in her eyes. "Sure thing. About a mile up the road. Can't miss it. But you should eat something first. Long drive ahead of you?" "Yeah, heading to Colorado." "Colorado," the waitress repeated. "That's a ways. You definitely need to eat. I recommend the meatloaf. It's really good here." Jennifer wasn't particularly hungry, but she also didn't want to be rude. And honestly, the diner smelled amazing, like home cooking and coffee and pie. "Sure, I'll have the meatloaf. And coffee, please." "Coming right up." The waitress disappeared into the kitchen. Jennifer looked around the diner. The elderly man was staring into his coffee cup. The couple was whispering to each other, their voices too low to hear. The man in the back hadn't turned a page of his newspaper. Jennifer pulled out her phone. No signal. Not surprising out here. She'd charge it in the car, maybe download some new podcasts when she got back to the highway. The waitress returned with coffee. It was perfect, strong and hot, and exactly what Jennifer needed. She sipped it and felt herself relax. Maybe this was just what she needed. A break, a meal, then back on the road. The meatloaf arrived. It looked delicious. Home-style with gravy and mashed potatoes and green beans. Jennifer took a bite. It was incredible. Better than incredible. It tasted like every comfort food memory she'd ever had. Sunday dinners at her grandmother's house. Potlucks at church. Home. She ate slowly, savoring each bite. The diner was quiet except for the soft clink of silverware and the hum of the refrigerator. Peaceful. Jennifer felt her eyelids getting heavy. The long drive was catching up with her. Maybe after she ate, she'd get some gas and then find a motel. Just a few hours of sleep before pushing on to Denver. She finished her meal. The waitress appeared immediately to take her plate. "How was everything?" "Amazing. Best meatloaf I've ever had." The waitress beamed. "We aim to please. Dessert? The cherry pie is fresh." "I really shouldn't." "Oh, come on. You've got a long drive. You need your strength." There was something about the way the waitress said it. Something insistent. But the pie did sound good, and Jennifer was still hungry, despite having finished the meatloaf. "Okay, sure. Cherry pie sounds great." The waitress brought the pie. a huge slice with ice cream melting on top. Jennifer ate it. It was just as delicious as the meatloaf, sweet and tart and perfect. When she finished, she asked for the check. The waitress brought it over, $8.47, incredibly cheap. Jennifer pulled out a 20. "Keep the change. You're too kind. Safe travels." Jennifer stood up. She felt strange, heavy, like moving through water. She must be more tired than she thought. She pushed open the door and walked to her car. The night air felt wrong. Too still, too quiet. She got in her car and started the engine. The clock on her dashboard said 10:47. That was odd. She'd been in the diner for at least 45 minutes, maybe an hour. But she'd entered at 10:30. The clock should read 11:30 at least. Jennifer shook her head. Her clock must be wrong. She pulled out of the parking lot and headed up the road, looking for the gas station the waitress had mentioned. She drove for a mile, 2 miles. No gas station. 3 miles, 4 miles, nothing. The road kept going, but there were no buildings, no lights, nothing but darkness and desert. Jennifer's fuel light came on. She felt a spike of anxiety. She turned around, heading back toward the diner. Maybe she'd ask for better directions. She drove back. The road was familiar. She should be seeing the diner's neon sign any moment, but the diner wasn't there. Jennifer slowed down. She was on the same road. She recognized the curve, the crack pattern in the asphalt. But where the diner had been, there was only empty desert. She pulled over and got out. In the moonlight, she could see the vague outline of a foundation. Old concrete, broken, overgrown with weeds. This was where the diner had been. She was certain, but there was nothing here. Maybe nothing had been here for decades. If you're feeling that sense of unreality, that creeping doubt about what's real and what's not, hit that like button. Let me know in the comments if you've ever felt like you stepped into somewhere that shouldn't exist. And make sure you're subscribed, because this story gets worse. Jennifer got back in her car. Her hands were shaking. This didn't make sense. She'd been in that diner. She'd eaten food. She'd talked to the waitress. It was real. But her gas gauge was lower than before. She'd driven 6 or 7 miles looking for the gas station and coming back. She had maybe 20 miles of fuel left. Jennifer pulled up her GPS. It showed her location, but the nearest gas station was 43 miles away. Back on the highway, heading north. She didn't have enough fuel to make it. She keyed the engine and started driving anyway. What choice did she have? She headed back toward the highway, her fuel light glowing like an angry eye. She made it to the on-ramp. Her car was sputtering. She merged onto the highway and pushed the accelerator, trying to build up speed before the engine died. The car coughed, jerked, kept going. Jennifer watched the mile markers. 237, 238, 239. Come on, just keep going. She saw lights ahead, a truck stop. Thank God. She coasted into the parking lot, her engine dying as she rolled up to a pump. The car stopped. Jennifer sat there, breathing hard. She'd made it. Barely, but she'd made it. She got out and started pumping gas. The truck stop was busy. Several big rigs were parked. People were going in and out of the convenience store. Normal. Everything was normal. Jennifer went inside to pay. The clerk was a young guy, maybe 25, playing on his phone. Pump 4? Yeah. He rang her up. Jennifer hesitated. Hey, is there a town called Redemption near here? The clerk looked up. Redemption? Yeah, it was on the exit signs. He frowned. There's no town called Redemption. Not around here. But I saw the sign. I took the exit. What exit? I don't know. It was about 40 miles back. The clerk pulled up a map on his computer. He scanned the highway. There are only 3 exits in that stretch. None of them lead to any town called Redemption. There's Miller, population 52. There's Route 380, which is just a crossroad. And there's an abandoned exit that goes nowhere. They closed it in the 80s. Jennifer felt cold. What was there at the abandoned exit? The clerk shrugged. I think there was a town there once. Got abandoned when they rerouted the highway. Why? No reason. Thanks. Jennifer went back to her car. She sat in the driver's seat, not starting the engine. She pulled up her phone. Signal was back. She searched for Redemption, New Mexico. The results were sparse. There had been a town called Redemption, founded in 1923. Population peaked at about 800 in the 1950s, but it had been abandoned in 1987 after the highway was rerouted. The town had basically dried up overnight. People left. Businesses closed. There was one more thing. A news article from 1989. Mystery surrounds disappearances on old Route 66. Jennifer clicked on it. The article detailed several disappearances. Travelers who had taken the old exit to Redemption. Their cars had been found abandoned on the side of the road, out of gas. The travelers themselves were never found. The disappearances had stopped after the state put up barriers on the exit ramp. But Jennifer hadn't seen any barriers. She zoomed in on the map, trying to find the exact exit she'd taken. Her GPS history showed her route. She followed the line to where she'd left the highway. There was no exit there. According to the map, she'd driven off the highway into empty desert, into nothing. But she had receipts. She had the change from the diner. She pulled out her wallet and checked. The $20 bill was gone, but there was no change, just her credit cards and a few other bills. Jennifer started her car and drove. She drove straight through to Colorado, stopping only for bathroom breaks and more gas. She didn't take any exits, didn't talk to anyone, just drove. She made it to Denver, got her apartment, started her new job, normal life. But sometimes, late at night, she can still taste that meatloaf, can still hear the buzz of the neon sign, can still see the waitress's smile, and she wonders where she really was that night, and who or what was serving her dinner. We're halfway through. 3 more stories to go. Stories that will make you question everything you think you know about the roads you travel. If you're still with me, drop a comment. Tell me if you've ever felt like you left the normal world behind, even for just a moment. Hit that like button if these stories are getting under your skin. And subscribe if you want more true horror stories that prove reality is far stranger than fiction. The 3rd story involves 2 college students named Ryan and Kayla. They were driving from California to Arizona for spring break. It was March. The desert was beautiful, clear skies, comfortable temperatures. They were taking the scenic route, avoiding the interstate, opting for smaller highways that wound through canyons and mountain passes. Ryan was driving. Kayla was in the passenger seat, DJing from her phone, playing music through the car speakers. They were having a good time, singing along to songs, laughing, making plans for their week in Arizona, pool parties, hiking, clubs. They'd been driving for about 6 hours when they decided to stop for lunch. There was a small town ahead, according to their map, a place called Juniper Falls. population around 3,000, big enough to have food options, small enough to be charming. They saw the exit sign. Juniper Falls, next right. Ryan took the exit. The road descended into a valley. They could see the town below. It looked perfect. Quaint main street, houses with neat yards, a church steeple. Exactly what they'd hoped for. They drove into town. It was early afternoon. The streets were quiet. They passed a grocery store, a hardware store, a library. All the buildings looked well maintained, clean. There were cars parked along the street. Everything seemed normal. Ryan spotted a diner. Want to try that? Looks good. Ryan parked. They got out. The air was fresh and clean. They could hear birds singing. A dog barked somewhere in the distance. Small town America at its finest. They walked into the diner. It was empty. No customers. No staff visible. But the lights were on. Music was playing softly from a jukebox in the corner. An old Johnny Cash song. "Hello?" Kayla called out. No response. They stood there for a moment, uncertain. Ryan checked his watch. 1:15 p.m. Definitely lunch hours. The diner should be open. Maybe they're in the back, Ryan suggested. They waited. A minute, 2 minutes. Ryan rang the little bell on the counter. Ding ding. Nothing. "This is weird," Kayla said. They left the diner and walked down the main street, looking for another restaurant, looking for people. But the street was empty. Every store they passed was the same. Lights on, music playing, signs saying, "Open." But no people. The grocery store had fresh produce in the windows. The hardware store had a display of garden tools. The library's door was propped open with a stone. But there was no one, anywhere. "Where is everyone?" Kayla whispered. Ryan didn't answer. He was looking at a clock mounted on the side of a building. It showed 1:15, the same time as his watch. But as he watched, the minute hand ticked backward. 1:14. "Kayla, look at that clock." She looked. They both watched as the minute hand moved. Backward. 1:13. 1:12. "We need to leave," Kayla said. They turned and walked quickly back to the car. Ryan fumbled with his keys, his hands suddenly unsteady. He got the door open. They climbed in. He started the engine. As he put the car in reverse, Kayla screamed. There was someone standing in the middle of the street, a woman in a blue dress. She was perfectly still, staring at them. Ryan slammed on the brakes. "Jesus!" The woman didn't move, didn't blink, just stared. Ryan honked the horn. "Get out of the way!" The woman tilted her head, slowly, like a bird. Then she smiled. It was wrong. The smile was too wide. Too many teeth. Ryan threw the car into drive and swerved around her, tires squealing. He accelerated down the main street, heading for the exit road. In the rearview mirror, he could see the woman, still standing there, still smiling. "Drive faster," Kayla urged. Ryan pressed the accelerator. The car flew through the town. They passed more buildings, more empty stores, and now there were people, standing in doorways, standing on sidewalks, all perfectly still, all staring, all wearing that same wrong smile. "Oh my God! Oh my God!" Kayla was chanting. Ryan focused on the road. The exit was just ahead. They could see the highway, safety, reality. They reached the edge of town. The road started to climb out of the valley. And then the car stopped. The engine was still running. Ryan had his foot on the accelerator. The RPMs climbed, but the car wasn't moving. "What's happening?" Kayla cried. Ryan looked in the rearview mirror. The people from the town were walking toward them, slowly, still smiling. There were dozens of them, men, women, children, all walking in perfect synchronization. Ryan shifted into park, then back into drive. Nothing. He tried reverse. The car wouldn't budge. "Get out," he said. "Run." They threw open the doors and started running up the road, uphill, toward the highway. Ryan could hear Kayla's breathing beside him, harsh and panicked. He didn't look back, didn't want to see how close those people were. They ran for what felt like miles. The highway had to be close. They'd only driven into the valley for maybe 5 minutes. Running uphill, it should take 10 minutes max. But the highway didn't get closer. They ran for 15 minutes, 20. The slope didn't level out. The highway remained in the distance, shimmering like a mirage. Kayla stumbled. Ryan caught her. "Come on, keep going." "I can't, Ryan, I can't breathe." They stopped, both gasping for air. Ryan looked back down the road. The people were still there, still walking, still smiling. They were closer now, maybe 100 yards away. "We have to keep moving," Ryan said. They ran, legs burning, lungs screaming. But the highway never got closer. It stayed exactly the same distance away, always visible, always unreachable. Ryan's mind was fracturing. This wasn't possible. They should have reached the highway, should have flagged down a car, should have been safe by now. He looked at his watch. 1:15 p.m., the same time it had been when they entered the town. Time wasn't moving, or they were stuck in it, or something else he couldn't comprehend. The people behind them were getting closer. Ryan could hear them now. They were humming, all of them, the same note. A low, droning sound that vibrated in his chest. "Ryan, what do we do?" Kayla sobbed. Ryan didn't have an answer. He was 19 years old, a sophomore in college. He studied business. He liked video games and basketball and pizza. He wasn't equipped for this, wasn't equipped for roads that didn't end, and people who smiled wrong, and time that moved backward. He grabbed Kayla's hand. "We jump." "What?" "Off the road, into the desert. Maybe we can circle around them." It wasn't a good plan. It probably wasn't even a sane plan, but it was the only thing he could think of. They veered off the road, scrambling down the embankment into the scrub brush and rocks. Ryan's ankle twisted on a stone. Pain shot up his leg, but he kept moving. They pushed through the brush, thorns tearing at their clothes. Behind them, the humming stopped. Ryan and Kayla froze. Silence, then laughter. All those people laughing in perfect unison. A sound like glass breaking, like metal scraping, like nothing human. Ryan and Kayla ran blindly through the desert. No direction, no plan, just away from that sound. They ran until Ryan's injured ankle gave out completely. He fell, crying out in pain. Kayla stopped, kneeling beside him. "We have to keep going," she said. "I can't. I think I broke it." Kayla was crying now, full body sobs. "This isn't happening. This can't be happening." Ryan looked around. The desert stretched in every direction. No road visible, no town, no people, just sand and rock and scrub brush and the sun beating down from a sky that had turned the color of old bruises. "Help me up," Ryan said. Kayla helped him to his feet. He leaned on her, and they hobbled forward. No goal, no destination, just moving because stopping felt like giving up, felt like dying. They walked for hours, or what felt like hours. The sun didn't move, still hung in that same position, neither setting nor climbing higher. Ryan's watch still showed 1:15. Eventually they saw something, a structure made of twisted metal and wood, like a sculpture or a marker. They approached it. Up close, Ryan realized what it was, a road sign, bent and corroded, but he could still make out the words. "Juniper Falls, next right." They were back at the beginning. "No," Kayla whispered. "No, no, no." Ryan felt his sanity slipping. They'd walked in a straight line. He was certain of it. They should be miles from the road. But here was the sign. Here was the exit. And standing beside the sign was the woman in the blue dress, still smiling. "Welcome to Juniper Falls," she said. Her voice was soft, pleasant, wrong. "Population 3002. If your heart is racing right now, if you're questioning whether you should ever take an unfamiliar exit again, leave a comment. Tell me what you're thinking. And please, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. These stories need to be heard. People need to know what's out there," Kayla screamed, a raw sound of pure terror. The woman's smile widened. She opened her mouth, too wide, impossibly wide. And that humming started again, coming from her throat, a sound that made Ryan's bones ache. He grabbed Kayla and ran, back toward where they thought their car had been. His ankle was agony. Every step was torture, but fear overrode pain. They crested a small rise and saw it. Their car, right where they'd left it. Engine still running. They stumbled to it. Ryan yanked open the driver's door. Kayla dove into the passenger seat. Ryan threw himself behind the wheel, slammed the door, and locked it. The woman was walking toward them, not hurrying, just walking. Behind her, the rest of the townspeople emerged from the desert, all walking in that same synchronized way. Ryan put the car in drive. He pressed the accelerator. The car moved. Ryan nearly sobbed with relief. They lurched forward, tires spitting gravel. He didn't try to go up the hill toward the highway. Instead, he turned the car around, heading back into the valley, back through the town. "What are you doing?" Kayla screamed. "There has to be another way out." They flew through the main street. The townspeople didn't try to stop them. They just watched, smiling, always smiling. Ryan saw another road, leading south, away from the main street. He took it. The road curved, narrowed, became dirt. But it was a road. It had to lead somewhere. They drove for miles. The town disappeared behind them. The desert opened up. And ahead, Ryan saw it. The highway, a different highway. But it was real. He could see cars, 18-wheelers, actual traffic. They reached the highway and merged. Other cars honked. Someone gave them the finger for cutting them off. Beautiful, normal, real. Ryan drove for 50 miles before pulling over. They sat in a rest area, engine off, both of them shaking. Kayla pulled up her phone. Signal, 4 bars. She searched for Juniper Falls, Arizona. No results. She tried different spellings. Juniper Bluffs, Juniper Creek, Juniper Valley. Nothing matched what they'd seen. She found a map of the area, zoomed in on where they'd been. There was no town in that valley. According to the map, it was federal land, uninhabited. Ryan looked at his watch. 4:47 p.m. 3.5 hours had passed since they'd entered that town. Or no time had passed, or all the time in the world. He didn't know anymore. They continued their drive to Arizona. They didn't talk about what happened, didn't mention it to their friends when they arrived, spent their spring break trying to pretend everything was normal. But Ryan still has nightmares. He dreams of that main street, those smiling faces, that clock running backward, and he wonders if they really escaped, or if they're still there, still trying to reach a highway that never gets closer, still running from people who will never stop smiling. 2 stories left, and these next 2 are perhaps the most disturbing of all. Before we continue, I want to thank you for watching this far. If you've made it this deep into these stories, you're exactly the kind of person who appreciates real horror. The kind that doesn't need special effects or jump scares. The kind that just needs truth. Please subscribe to this channel. Hit that like button. Your support helps me bring you more of these stories, more truths from the edges of reality. The fourth story comes from a man named David. David was a pharmaceutical sales rep. He spent most of his time driving between hospitals and clinics. He knew the roads of the Pacific Northwest better than most people know their own neighborhoods. It was late November. David was driving from Portland to Seattle. He'd made this drive hundreds of times. I-5 North, straight shot, about 3 hours. He'd left Portland around 6 p.m. The plan was to arrive in Seattle by 9, check into his hotel, grab dinner, and prep for his meetings the next day. The first hour was normal. Traffic, rain, the usual. But as he passed Olympia, the traffic thinned. The rain got heavier. David turned on his wipers. High setting. The road was barely visible through the downpour. He saw a sign. Road construction ahead. Follow detour. David sighed. He hated detours. They always added time, but he had no choice. He followed the arrows, exiting onto a smaller highway. The detour signs continued. Orange diamonds reflecting in his headlights. Turn here. Continue straight. Turn left. David followed them dutifully, trusting that they'd lead him back to I-5. After about 20 minutes, David realized he hadn't seen another car. Not one. On a route that should be packed with detour traffic, he was completely alone. He checked his GPS. It showed him on a road called Route 47, which was odd because he'd never heard of Route 47. And according to the GPS, this road didn't reconnect with I-5. It just ended, dead-ended into nothing about 30 miles ahead. David slowed down. He was looking for a place to turn around when his headlights caught something. A car pulled over on the side of the road. Hazard lights flashing. David's first instinct was to keep driving. It was late. It was raining. He didn't know this road. But his conscience nagged at him. What if someone was hurt? What if they needed help? He pulled over behind the car. A Honda Civic, older model. He could see someone in the driver's seat. David grabbed his phone, making sure he had signal just in case. 2 bars, not great, but enough. He got out of his car, pulling his jacket tight against the rain. He approached the Honda, tapped on the window. The driver was a woman, maybe 30. She looked up at him. Her face was streaked with tears. David motioned for her to roll down the window. She did. Just a crack. "Are you okay?" David asked. "My car won't start," the woman said. Her voice was flat, empty. "Do you want me to call a tow truck? There's no signal here." "I have 2 bars. I can try." The woman stared at him. "You shouldn't have stopped." David felt a cold spike of fear. "What? You should go. Drive away. Don't stop again." "I don't understand." The woman's eyes filled with fresh tears. "Please, just go. Before they come back." "Before who comes back?" The woman looked past David, at something behind him. Her eyes widened. "Too late," she whispered. David spun around. There was a truck parked behind his car. He hadn't heard it approach, hadn't seen headlights. But there it was. A large pickup, dark-colored, and standing beside it were 3 people, 2 men and a woman. They were wearing rain gear, yellow jackets. They looked normal, like road workers or construction crew. One of the men waved at David. "Need some help?" David's instincts were screaming at him. Everything about this felt wrong, but he couldn't articulate why. These people looked normal, sounded normal. "I'm good," David called back. "Just checking on this driver." "Car won't start?" the man asked, walking closer. Yeah, but I was just about to call a tow truck. No need. We can give her a jump. We've got cables. The man was getting closer. So were the other two. They were smiling, friendly smiles. But David noticed their eyes. They weren't blinking. Rain was hitting their faces, running into their eyes, but they weren't blinking. David backed toward his car. You know what? I actually need to get going. Late for an appointment. Won't take but a minute, the man said. He was 10 feet away now. We're here to help. The woman in the Honda suddenly started her engine. It roared to life. She threw the car into drive and peeled out, tires shrieking on the wet pavement. She was gone in seconds. The three people didn't react, didn't turn to watch her go, just kept their eyes locked on David. Looks like she got it started, David said, trying to keep his voice casual. He reached for his car door handle. One of the other men was suddenly there, blocking the door. David hadn't seen him move. 1 second, he was 15 feet away. The next, he was right there. You should stay, the man said. It's dangerous to drive in this rain. David's heart was hammering. I'll be fine. We insist. The first man was right behind David now. David could feel his presence, could smell something wrong, like chemicals, like something burning. David made a decision. He ran, sprinted away from his car, into the darkness beside the road. Behind him, he heard laughter. Not surprised laughter, not angry laughter, just laughter, like they were amused by a joke only they understood. David ran through the trees. Branches whipped his face. His shoes slipped on wet leaves. He could hear footsteps behind him, keeping pace, never getting closer, never falling back. He ran until his lungs burned, until his legs gave out. He collapsed against a tree, gasping for air. The footsteps stopped. David held his breath, listening. The rain pattered on the leaves. Thunder rumbled in the distance, but no footsteps, no voices. He waited. 5 minutes, 10, nothing. Slowly, carefully, he stood up. He needed to get back to the road, flag down a car, get help. He walked through the forest using his phone's flashlight. The battery was at 15%. He needed to preserve it. It took him 20 minutes to find the road. When he emerged from the trees, his car was gone. So was the truck. There was nothing, just empty road and rain. David started walking. He walked for miles. No cars passed, no buildings appeared, just road, endless road. He walked until his phone died, walked until the rain stopped, walked until the sky began to lighten with dawn, and finally, he saw lights. A gas station. David stumbled into the parking lot. There was an attendant inside, a normal-looking guy in his 20s, playing on his phone. David pushed open the door. I need help. I need to call the police. The attendant looked up. You okay, man? You look rough. I was attacked. On Route 47. These people, they... Route 47? The attendant frowned. There's no Route 47 around here? Yes, there is. I was just on it. There was a detour from I-5. The attendant pulled up a map on his computer. Show me. David leaned over the counter, trying to find the road. But it wasn't there. He traced his route from Portland, followed where the detour should have taken him. But there was no Route 47 on the map. That's impossible, David said. I was there. I drove on it. I saw the signs. The attendant looked concerned. When's the last time you ate something? You might be in shock. David wanted to argue, wanted to insist he wasn't crazy, but he was too tired, too confused. The attendant called David a cab. David rode back to Portland. He reported his car stolen. The police found it 2 days later, parked in Seattle, right outside his hotel, keys in the ignition. According to his GPS history, David had never left I-5, had driven straight from Portland to Seattle, arrived at 9:07 p.m. right on time. But David's shoes were caked with mud. His jacket was torn from branches. His face had scratches. And in his pocket, he found something he hadn't put there. A small orange diamond, plastic, the kind they use for construction signs. But this one had writing on it, scratched into the surface. Welcome to Route 47, Population 1. David never drove alone again. Always took flights. Always stayed in cities. He couldn't explain what happened that night. Couldn't make sense of it. But he knew one thing for certain. There are roads that exist between the mapped roads. Roads that only appear under certain conditions. When you're alone. When it's dark. When the rain is heavy enough to blur reality. And on those roads, there are people or things that look like people. And they're waiting for travelers who make the mistake of stopping. One more story, one more journey into the impossible. If you've made it this far, you deserve to know the truth. You deserve to understand that the world is not what it seems. That maps lie. That GPS can't be trusted. That sometimes the detour leads somewhere you were never meant to go. Please hit that like button right now. Subscribe if you haven't already. And leave a comment telling me if you've ever taken a detour that felt wrong. If you've ever driven on a road that shouldn't exist. The final story comes from a group of 4 friends. Alex, Maria, Tyler, and Stephanie. They were taking a cross-country road trip from New York to Los Angeles. The trip of a lifetime. 3 weeks. Seeing America. They were somewhere in Kansas, middle of nowhere, flatland and big sky. They'd been driving for 8 hours. Everyone was tired. They decided to find a motel, sleep for the night, start fresh in the morning. Alex was driving. He saw a sign. Lodging, next exit. Thank God, Maria said from the back seat. They took the exit. The off-ramp led to a 2-lane road. No buildings visible, but they followed it, trusting the sign. After about 5 miles, they saw lights. A motel. Single story, L-shaped, about 20 rooms. A neon sign that said, vacancy. Perfect, Tyler said. They pulled into the parking lot. There were no other cars. The office light was on. Alex went in to get rooms. The clerk was an older man, bald, glasses, cardigan sweater. 2 rooms, please, Alex said. 2 queens in each if you have them. Sure do. How many nights? Just 1. The clerk processed the payment, handed over 2 keys, real keys, not card keys, with chunky plastic tags. Rooms 12 and 13. End of the row. Quiet spot. Thanks. Alex went back to the car. They drove to the end of the row, parked, grabbed their bags. The rooms were basic but clean. Maria and Stephanie took room 12. Alex and Tyler took 13. They agreed to meet up in 10 minutes, maybe walk to see if there was anywhere to get food. Alex showered, changed into fresh clothes. Tyler was watching TV, flipping channels. There's nothing but static, Tyler said. We're in the middle of nowhere, probably no cable. There was a knock on the door. Maria and Stephanie. Ready? Maria asked. They walked out of the motel, looking for signs of civilization. A diner, a fast food place, anything. But there was nothing. Just the motel and darkness. Maybe there's something back toward the highway, Stephanie suggested. They started walking, following the road they'd driven in on. But after about 10 minutes, they realized something strange. They should be able to see the highway, should see the lights from cars, hear the traffic, but there was nothing. Just silence, just darkness. "Did we walk past it?" Maria asked. They turned around, walked back toward the motel, but the motel wasn't there. They were on the same road. They recognized the pavement, the white lines, but the motel was gone. "What the hell?" Tyler said. They kept walking. Surely they'd missed it. Surely it was just around the next curve. But there was no curve. The road was straight, and it stretched into darkness in both directions. No motel, no highway, nothing. Alex pulled out his phone. No signal. "Everyone check your phones," he said. No signal on any of them. Not even emergency calls available. "Okay, let's stay calm," Alex said. "We'll just walk back. We know we came from this direction. We'll find the motel." They walked for 30 minutes. The road never changed, never curved, never ended. Just straight pavement under a starless sky. "This doesn't make sense," Maria said. Her voice was shaking. Stephanie grabbed her hand. "We're going to be okay. We just need to—" She stopped. In the distance, they could see a light. "There," Tyler pointed. "Someone's coming." They waited. The light got brighter. It was a car. Headlights approaching. "Flag them down," Alex said. They stood in the middle of the road, waving their arms. The car slowed, stopped. It was an old sedan. The driver rolled down his window. He was maybe 40, wearing a suit, looking tired. "You folks lost?" he asked. "Yes," Alex said. "We're trying to find our motel. We were walking and we got turned around." The man nodded. "That happens here. Get in. I'll give you a ride." They hesitated. Getting in a stranger's car wasn't smart. But what choice did they have? They climbed in. It was a tight fit. 4 of them in the back seat. But they managed. The man drove. Slow. Steady. "What's the name of your motel?" he asked. Alex realized he didn't know. He'd never asked. Never looked at the sign closely. It was just off the exit. "Only motel there." "Ah," the man said. "Yes, I know it." They drove for several minutes. The road looked the same, perfectly straight. No landmarks. "How far is it?" Maria asked. "Not far. Just keep going straight and you'll find it." There was something odd about how he said that, like he was reciting lines. Tyler noticed something. "Hey, your speedometer isn't moving." The man didn't respond. "Hey," Tyler said louder. "Your speedometer is broken," the man finished. "Has been for years." But his voice had changed. Flatter, more mechanical. Alex leaned forward. "Who are you?" The man didn't answer, just kept driving. "Stop the car," Alex demanded. "Let us out." "Can't do that," the man said. "Not yet. We haven't reached the motel." "Stop the car right now." The man's head turned, all the way around, 180 degrees, his body still facing forward, his face now looking at them. He was smiling, but his eyes were black, completely black. No whites, no pupils, just darkness. "We're almost there," he said. Stephanie screamed. Tyler grabbed the door handle and pulled. It didn't budge. Locked. Alex tried his door. Also locked. The man's head rotated back to face forward. The car accelerated. Faster, faster. The speedometer still showed 0. They were flying down the road. The darkness outside became a blur. And then, suddenly, they stopped. The motel was in front of them. Same L shape, same neon sign. "Here we are," the man said. The doors unlocked with a click. They scrambled out, stumbling, falling, getting up and running toward their rooms. Behind them, they heard the car door close, the engine start. The car drove away. They burst into room 12, slammed the door, locked it. "What the hell was that?" Maria sobbed. "I don't know. I don't know." Alex was shaking. They looked out the window. The parking lot was empty except for their own car. "We need to leave," Tyler said. "Right now." They grabbed their stuff, threw it in the car. Alex started the engine. He drove to the exit of the parking lot, turned onto the road, and there it was again. The motel, right in front of them. "No," Alex whispered. He turned around, drove the other direction. The motel appeared again. He tried going cross-country, driving through the desert around the motel. But no matter which direction they went, they ended up back at the motel. They were trapped. This is the final story, the one that has no resolution, because Alex, Maria, Tyler, and Stephanie are still there, still trying to find their way out, still seeing that motel appear no matter which direction they drive. Sometimes, late at night, if you're driving through Kansas, you might see them. 4 people in a car, looking desperate, looking terrified. They might flag you down, beg you for help. If you see them, don't stop, because if you stop, you might end up in the same place they are, driving in circles, forever trying to escape a motel that exists nowhere and everywhere, a road that has no beginning and no end, a journey that was never meant to end. If these stories have affected you, if they've made you see the roads differently, if they've planted a seed of fear that will grow every time you take an unfamiliar exit, then my work here is done. Please do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, ring the notification bell. These stories need to be told. People need to know. Leave a comment. Tell me about your experiences. Tell me about the roads you've traveled, the strange things you've seen, the moments when reality felt thin. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And remember, the next time you're on a long drive, pay attention. Watch for the signs. Question the detours. Because not every road leads home. Some roads lead somewhere else entirely. And once you're on them, you might never find your way back. Drive safely out there and never, ever trust a road that feels too empty. Good night.